It's very, very nice to be able to join you. As you can see, we are emanating from Ananda Village and our beautiful Temple of Light. I wish we could be with you in Seattle physically, but the time is not right for that this year. So perhaps next year we can be.
So we want to thank Nayaswamis Sriman and Padma for inviting us to be a part of your Seattle celebration for Masters, the anniversary of Masters coming to the West, the 100th anniversary. So we hope we'll share briefly today, but we hope throughout your event that you draw great inspiration and that you can be inspired once again with what Master brought to all of us. So Jyotish will begin.
Toward the end of Master's life, in fact, I think it was in the last week or so, Swami was with him for a little while privately, and Master had been giving hints that he was going to leave the body. Now, he obviously came to this country in 1920, so this was some 32 years later when he was getting ready to exit the body. And Swamiji asked, really on behalf of all of us, Master, when you leave the body, will you still be with us? And Master gave an absolutely beautiful answer. For those who think me near, I will be near. I was thinking about that. It's such a comforting thought. You know, those 10 words are among the most beautiful and comforting that Master ever uttered. For those who think me near, I will be near. And so what that means is that he wasn't going to leave us. He wasn't going to abandon us. He was still going to be here not only to be with those who think him near, but to help guide them, to help support them. I was reading recently a little section from Autobiography of a Yogi where Sri Yukteswar has resurrected, and Master is having this discussion with him in the chapter in the Autobiography of a Yogi called Resurrection of Sri Yukteswar. And he's talking about the astral world. And he said a couple of very interesting things. One was, he said that unlike from the physical plane to the astral plane, where on the physical plane we can't easily perceive the astral plane, from the astral plane you can easily perceive what's happening on the physical plane. So Master, being now presumably on the astral plane, is able to easily see what's going on in our lives. Now, obviously, everything has to do with consciousness in any case, and we talk about these different planes. The typical thought, of course, is that the astral plane is somewhere out there and up there, kind of the thought of heaven, astral plane being the yogi's terminology for heaven, that it's somehow up in the clouds and that the angels are there and their only work is to sit on clouds and strum a harp now and then. I don't know about you, but that idea of heaven absolutely frightens me. I can't imagine. I mean, I suppose I can imagine, but being in such a relaxed state that you would enjoy just sitting there doing nothing, maybe occasionally strumming a harp. Maybe that'd be nice for a day or two if you're really tired. After a week, would that maybe get a little bit tiresome? After a year, strumming that harp, maybe not so fun anymore. After 5,000 years, because presumably heaven goes on for eternity. So after 1 billion years or so of strumming that harp, maybe that doesn't sound like such an idea. Well, that is not what happens. Sri Yukteswar said that in the astral world, he's now talking about the high astral plane of Hiranyaloka, where you have to be basically in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. That's your entrance ticket to that plane. So you're in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, and one would think, well, you don't have any other responsibilities except to be in Samadhi. He said that the beings on Hiranyaloka are awake during the day and night of the long astral day. Most of the time they're awake. And while they're awake, they're busy working on the intricate problems of cosmic government. Doesn't sound a whole lot different from what we're doing now, except on a much bigger scale. So working, being productive, being active, because after all, we're an extension of God. We're an extension of God's consciousness. And unless we are, I don't know, in tune, as long as God is manifesting, as long as this world is in manifesting, if we're a part of God's consciousness, then we're a part of doing that. And so Master is still a part of that. But he is able to easily shift his attention from the astral plane to the physical plane. He's able to guide us. So for those who think him near, he's right there with us. So that very, very comforting thought is there. The other aspect of it, one might say, is our part. In order to draw on him, it doesn't require very much, but it requires something. We have to think of him. How often during the day do you think of Master? How often when you're struggling do you think, Master, can you help me? I don't know which product to buy. I don't know what to do about this situation. I don't know how to talk with these people. Master, can you help me? If we think him near during our questioning of how to operate in this life, then he will be near. I read something very beautiful about Anandamoyi Ma. In terms of this, if you think of me, I will be there, which is what Master is saying. Someone asked her, Master, Ma, when people pray to you, do you receive those prayers? And she said something very interesting. She said, it's as if I see a crowd of people, and if, from her state of consciousness, seeing a crowd of people, she said, if someone prays to me or turns their attention to me, it's as if in that crowd of people, someone has shined a spotlight, and my attention goes to that person. So when we think of Master, we shine a spotlight of our consciousness. He sees that and he responds to us. Isn't that comforting? Isn't it wonderful to know that he's still there just as much as he was when he had a body? And in many ways, we have experienced with Swami Kriyananda, it's easier to feel him with us now that he's not in a body than it was when he was in a body. Because when he's inhabiting, or Master inhabiting a body, at that time you think of him located in that body. And if you're one place and he's another place, then he's somewhere distant. But now he's omnipresent, and it's easier he of course always was, but it's easier for us to recognize that truth. And so for us, this beautiful thought, this comforting thought, this important thought, if you think me near, I will be near, can be a very great key to living our life successfully. Do think of Master. Do feel love for him in your heart, and he will respond.
Hello, everyone. Well, I've been asked to talk on the beautiful statement that Master made also, and which is, when I am gone, only love can take my place. The context of this was once a disciple asked him, Master, after you're gone, what can possibly replace you? A direct disciple. And Master, in response to that, said, when I am gone, only love can take my place. Well, what kind of love can take his place? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. It isn't just ordinary human love. It isn't emotions or that we have closeness for family or friends. It's of a different, I shouldn't say different, it embraces all of those things, but it raises them to a higher octave as well. And I think to understand it, we need to understand what is the love the Guru has for the disciple. And we have so many beautiful illustrations of this. And first of all, there's the example that Sri Yukteswar gave to us in Autobiography of only wanting the best for the disciple. In the early days when Master was with Sri Yukteswar, he went up to the Himalayas and was gone for a period of time. And he came back and he fell at his master's feet and he said, oh, sir, I'm so sorry. I must have disappointed you, abandoning all my responsibilities at the ashram. And Sri Yukteswar said, of course not. I'm not at all disturbed. I have no expectations of other people. All I want for you is your highest welfare. And so the Guru, that kind of love, without unconditional, without expectation, without performance standards, which we are so ingrained to think, well, if I do this, then I'll earn people's love. No, unconditional, the love of the Guru only wants our highest and best and what will make us happy. And we can abandon the Guru, we can turn our back. He will never turn his back on us. If the day we decide to walk back through the door of his grace, he will be there. The prodigal son, very important story in the Bible. The prodigal son, he who leaves, goes into the world, suffers. When he decides to come home, the metaphorical father, the Guru, says, welcome. We will have a great celebration. So unconditional love, wanting only the best. This is part of the Guru's love. But then also we have to balance it with impersonal. It isn't the kind of love that, I don't know, just one-on-one. And Swami Kriyananda taught us this because he was so close, he was so natural, he was so loving, but at the same time, we always sensed there was a part of him that was not with us, that was with God, with Master. And once we hadn't seen him for quite a long time, and we went over to Assisi, where he was at the time, and I had been missing him on a personal level. And we got there, and he was busy, and he had programs, and he was gracious and loving, but I wanted more personal connection. And he picked up my thought, and he said to me, Devi, no one is special to me. I'm not even special to myself. And that was such an important lesson for me. That was his love any less because he was busy? No. But we had to tune in to the vibration of that impersonal love and realize that the marvelous thing, the miraculous thing is when you begin to understand and appreciate that impersonal love, you realize that it's so much more personal than normal human love, because it's not your personality, what you do together, the jokes you share. It's soul to soul. I saw a statement recently that Swami said, people say, I've created all these communities. He said, there is only one community, and for me, and that is the community of like-minded souls, wherever they are, whether I have met them or not. And so to understand the beauty of that profoundly deep and yet impersonal love, this is the love the Guru brings to us. And then finally, the love is practical. Wasn't Sri Yukteswar always practical with Master? You need to get this certain kind of bangle because the stars are going to be taking an unpleasant interest in you. You need to, and Babaji with Lahiri, before the initiation, drink this oil and then go lay down by the river and purify yourself. Always practical, always showing us like a mother. That's why Master had the concept of Divine Mother. This will help you. Do this, do that. And so when Master said, when I am gone, only love can take my place, we need to understand it's not just in our memory of, oh, he did this and he did that, but we too, if we want to feel him with us, if we want to replace, all of us never knew Master in this lifetime, but once I heard Swamiji say, much to my delight, another spiritual teacher was visiting and they were having lunch together and I was serving them. It was a large group. It was up at the meditation retreat dining room. And so I was right behind Swami, and I think he said this so I could hear it, I would imagine. He said, look at all these people so devoted to Master. They must have been with him in other lifetimes. And I was so happy that I could take the knife away or the plate or whatever it was, but I heard that. And so we need to understand the connection with the Guru is not one lifetime, it's many lifetimes. And we're just picking it up again in this lifetime. But if we want to replace that yearning, the best way to do it is to be a channel of the kind of love that he came in this world to express. Rajarsi Janakananda called him Premavatar, incarnation of divine love. And so we too, maybe we have shortcomings, maybe we have limitations and bad habits and weaknesses and failures. So be it. But we nevertheless have the capacity to be a channel for divine love. Nothing can stop that. And so if we, in thinking of these things, a love that's unconditional, always accepting, non-judging others, anybody, a love that's both impersonal and personal. So there's always the sweetness of God between you and the other person. And then finally, be practical in your love. Help those in need. Do what you can to improve their situation. And most important, do what you can to show them the way to real happiness through a spiritual life. So only love can take my place. And he is not gone. Master is as much with us as he ever was, but we will be more aware of his presence when we become a channel for his love. Thank you.